That's your grandmother?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so unique. I love it. What do you remember?
Can you see the Indian blood in me?
Mm, maybe a little bit. So tell me what it is. Tell me what you remember about your grandmother that was special.
Nobody, my mother doesn't even remember her.
Oh, no. That's.
So she doesn't remember. She died when my mother was born, I think.
Oh, okay.
So my mother doesn't remember her. And these are my children.
Okay.
These are twins.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and Amy are twins.
Okay.
James is a baby, and Davis is dead.
Okay.
And these are my brothers and sisters.
Okay.
That's my brother Jack, my sister Marie,
Mm-hmm.
my sister Martha. This is the one we're going to bury next week.
Oh, and she lives over near me, right? You
Hmm?
said she lives in uh, Seaside or Santa Rosa Beach?
Destin that lived over in Destin.
Okay. Oh, Destin. Okay.
Yeah,
South
Surfside.
Walton. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
right up there.
And that's me, of course.
Oh, that's neat. How old were you when you were there in that picture?
That was a nice that's my graduation.
Graduation picture.
I was 18 or 19. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Yeah. And then these pictures here. Tell me about those.
That's my brother and sister, half brother and sister,
Yeah.
Sydney and Linda.
Okay.
And I'll see him this next week. And that's my kids, Amy, Matt, Jane, and Davis.
Uh-huh.
And this is my old homestead. That's where I was born and raised.
In Mississippi. Where in Mississippi?
Columbus.
Columbus, Mississippi. Sweet little
And you
house.
see that right there? That house right there?
Yes.
We didn't have indoor plumbing.
Really?
No. It's
So,
an outhouse.
oh, I can hardly see
Outdoor toilet. That's the outhouse.
That's
where
great.
you had to go poop.
Yep. I remember visiting some across the country in older areas, when I was exploring through Colorado and different, parts of the country before all indoor plumbing.
And you see how the house is built up on stilts,
Yes.
on their brick columns.
Yes.
And I used to, when I'd do something bad, my mother was asking me, gonna switch me. I'd run up under the house. And I ran under the house one time. I'd done something, I don't know what it was real bad. And she crawled under there and drug my ass out.
Oh! Gave you a whipping.
Yeah, she sure as did.
Well, did it work? You turned out to be a pretty good guy, it looks like.
I don't think my daddy ever whipped me.
Really?
Yeah.
Your mom was the disciplinarian.
And my dad was a drunk, alcoholic.
Oh.
That's whatever you want to call it. I used to have to he was a house painter, and they weren't, back in the 30s, they weren't in their houses getting painted. That was during the Depression. And he'd go down to they didn't have, they used to bootleg whiskey. They called it cat whiskey. They made the whiskey. It wasn't bottled in bond. It was cat whiskey. And if you took your pint bottle down and gave them a bottle, it was 50 cents. But if you didn't have your own bottle, it cost $1 if they had to give you the bottle.
Oh.
But if you took your own bottle, you could get it for 50 cents. And I used to have to go down every Sunday afternoon after he had been drinking all day and lead him home.
Oh. It's a good thing that he had you to get him home.
Yeah, I'd have to hold his hand and walk him home.
Now, was he with you throughout your life?
My dad, let me think a minute on that. God, I don't remember when my dad died. Uh,
Did you tell me your parents divorced or they stayed together?
my parents divorced,
How old were
but I
you?
live with my
Grandmother?
no,
Grandpa?
my sister my sisters lived with my dad. Couldn't, they couldn't raise them all, so they decided to let one child stay with my dad. And my sister stayed down there, but my dad remarried, and my sister didn't get along with my stepmother. So he said, they're gonna trade one off. So I went with my mother when she left my dad, and they decided Marie couldn't live with the stepmother. So she stepmother said, if I'm gonna have to have if we're gonna have to keep one of the kids, I'd rather have, they call me Sonny. I'm gonna keep Sonny
The baby.
because she had a child and it died. So she wanted the baby boy to raise. So I went to live with my dad and stepmother. And she was a good woman.
But didn't you tell me something about you'd sneak away to go visit your grandmother or something? Didn't you sneak away to go visit?
Yeah, my grandmother lived with my daddy. Uh,
Oh.
my stepmother and my daddy, my granny lived down there,
Yeah.
Ms. Drees. And yeah, I used to go down there and see her all the time. As a matter of fact, I remember when she died. I was down there, and that old house that we lived in was called a shotgun house. Anyway, it had cracks around it. They had these old windows that had the weights in them, and they weren't the house wasn't very insulated. Cracks in the floor, and had a little fireplace grate about that big in every room to keep warm, and the big old cast iron stove in the kitchen. I'd go get behind the stove in the morning to dress to be warm. But I used to sneak down there and see my grandmother, and I know I went down there one time and I didn't realize it. Of course, I'm a small boy. I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. And she said they had these fireplace with little grates on it, and they had a thing you could put on the grate and take an old iron. I don't know if you remember those old cast iron irons that you heated on the stove to iron your clothes with.
Yes, I remember those.
Well, they had contraption that you could put them in front of the fireplace, and the fireplace would heat them. So she asked me to go in there. She was cold and didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time, but she was cold and she had pneumonia. But she asked me if I'd go in there and put a iron on the fireplace and warm it up for her and bring it to her. So I did. I warmed it up and put a towel around it and brought it and put it in bed with her under her feet. And I didn't realize it at the time, but she had pneumonia and she died.
Oh.
But
She was blessed to have you there to help try to comfort her in the process.
yeah,
That was nice.
I don't think my dad ever whipped me, and I don't remember him ever whipping me. He might cuss me, but I don't think he ever whipped me. I don't remember him ever whipping me.
Yeah. So were you close to your dad?
Not really. I don't know. People weren't close back in those days. They were it was one of those things of kind of necessity type things, that you were kind to each other out of necessity more than out of love, you know.
Were you close to your mama?
Uh, yeah, my mama, yeah, mama loved us all, yeah. She got us dressed for church, made us go to church every Sunday. Went to Sunday school every Sunday.
What church did you go to?
East End Baptist Church.
Okay,
It was about it was about 6 blocks from my house, and we'd walk to Sunday school.
nice. And did they have an outhouse in there? Outside the church?
No,
No running water? They had a
they had
bathroom?
running water in the church.
Nice.
Uh, that old house that I lived in that I showed you the picture of, we were on the wrong side of the tracks. Everything stopped at the railroad tracks, all
Oh.
city services.
Yeah.
We weren't considered to be in the city limits. And all city services stopped at the railroad track. We didn't have running water, we didn't have sewage. We had electricity, but
Uh-huh.
and when they added that part of to incorporate that part of the town, they ran sewer pumps. And I had joined the Navy, and I came home and I said, listen, I'm tired of having to go out and shower in the water hose, because we had a hose out that had running water, and I had a water hose. And we had water, one faucet on the back porch, and that's all the water we had. That was the fresh water. And then we had a hose, and I said, I'm tired of taking a shower on that fresh water. So I put the first bathroom in that house.
Oh, wow.
I was in the Navy, and I came home, and I said, I'm tired of this. And so I put a bathtub and a commode in the house.
Nice.
So we had indoor facilities.
That was nice of you to go ahead and take care of that too. So the planes behind.
I used to send my dad an allotment every month.
Oh, you did?
I had it taken out of my paycheck every month.
To help him?
Yeah, I think I sent him a $25 check every month.
Okay. And what year was?
I only made $82.
Oh. Did you send your mom some too?
No, she didn't need. Her husband worked.
And took care of her.
Yeah. He always had a job. He raised his family.
So you fed.
My stepdad was probably the most Christian man I have ever met in my life.
Oh.
He had a good heart. And I remember there were railroad tracks behind my house, and hobos used to come by all the time. He never refused to give them something to eat. They'd knock on the door and said, I'm hungry, can you give me something to eat? It may be a piece of bread, but he would give them something to eat.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I figure I might be in that shape someday, and I'd want somebody to feed me. And so he would always give them something. He was a kind man.
That's a blessing. So he raised you basically? Or was it?
I don't remember. No, I lived with my dad.
I know, but the whole time, did you live with your dad from the time, how old were you when you were 5 or something, till how old?
I don't remember.
Yeah. But so you got the benefit of both sides. You got to see your mom and your dad.
They only lived 5 or 6 blocks apart.
Okay, so you had an opportunity to.
Ride my bike or walk up this. I
Yeah.
could see my mom anytime I wanted to.
Nice.
And
It was good that he let you do that and didn't try to keep you away or any of that. I think it's better for the children to be able to see their parents.
Yeah. Uh, and my sister Marie, that was this one right here, she committed suicide.
Oh, because tell me about her. She was sick and had what'd she
She
have?
had epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
and she couldn't deal with it. She couldn't hold her job, and and she, they were going to send her away to a
Mental hospital?
well, yeah, rehabilitation center or something. Anyway, they were going to send her away, and she said, "I can't, I can't handle that." So she took rat poison,
Oh no.
and that made her sick in her stomach, throwing up. So to get herself out of the misery, she slashed her wrist. Took a razor blade, slashed her wrist, so she bled to
That's really sad. How old was she?
death. I'm gonna say she was about 28, 29.
She have any children?
One.
Oh, how did the child take that? How old was the child?
Uh, the child was Bobby was living with. She had gone to. She had always. She went to every movie and recorded in her movie book. She kept a book. Who directed the movie and who wrote the screenplay and who acted in it, and she kept a book of every movie. And
The one she liked or just all movies?
well, she just was in love with California, so she decided that she was going to California to see all the movie stars. So she did. I don't know how she got out there, but she went to California, and she met a guy out there, Lawrence Donald. He was he worked at a train station as a porter, and she married Lawrence Donald, and he was a photographer. As a matter of fact, he probably made these pictures right there. He made wonderful pictures. He was a great photographer. And I thought I had another book down here somewhere, but I don't know.
So, do you know how old her son was when she died?
Oh, Bobby was, my mother took him in her 80s, but he wasn't very old. I don't remember.
Shame. You can tell you
That's what
like
this is what I was
Ole
looking-
Miss.
This is what I was looking for. I wanted to show you this.
Let's see the cover. What does it say?
Says
19
Cruise of the Monsoon.
Okay.
This was a trip I took. We a bunch of us. Well, here's who the crew was. Hans Noack is a German Navy. Stockmeyer was German Navy.
Cross.
German Army.
Mm-hmm.
German Army. Lou Mackin, U.S. Navy. Morris Drees, U.S. Navy. Ryder Planner, U.S. Navy.
Is it Perry?
Very pleasant first day. Tiring. Lunch, ham, and I just kept a track of.
Little journal?
Huh?
A little journal
Yeah.
of sorts, yeah.
And every day I just wrote a note of where we were and where we'd parked the boat and everything. The admiral, Admiral Obermeyer, was a German admiral, and he said his idea was that if we were in control of the shipping in the Baltic Sea. And his idea was, he said, if you're gonna learn the waters where your ships are, you need to sail on it. Because you get the experience of the wind and the seas and the tides and everything if you're sailing, not if you got a power boat. So he ordered me on a 2-week sailing trip. And we went up and got a German, what's it called? The German Naval Academy, I guess it was, and got one of their sailboats. And we went sailing on the Baltic for about 10 days. Sailing around. We went up the coast of Denmark and up to Norway and over into Sweden, back down to Germany.
In the 70s. Yeah. You were talking, we kind of went back and forth. You originally were talking about, and that's probably why you thought of that journal, is you were talking about how your sister had taken notes about who all the directors and producers and everything were.
Yeah.
Did she want to be a producer at some point, or she just liked movies?
She just liked movies.
Okay.
And she went out there and she met this guy, a porter out there, and married him. And she sent for her son, and we sent him out there, put him on a train, sent him out there, but she couldn't keep him, and so she sent him back.
Because probably her illness was hard on her to take care of her
She
finances.
She just couldn't keep him.
Yeah. Well, at least he got an opportunity to spend some time with her
Yeah.
while she was alive.
Yeah.
Got to look at the positive, at least for the child, to at least get to know the parent.
That was this one.
Yeah.
And this is the
Pretty
one.
woman.
This is the one we're burying here next week.
Mm-hmm. So this is the one who died, commits suicide, and this is the one that just died. And how old was Martha when she died? Last week?
95.
95.
And that's Sabra.
Yep, your grandmother.
That's my grandma.
Well, how did you get the picture? From a family album or something?
I have no idea where that picture came from.
Yeah, they just gave it to you. So tell me about these pictures behind you. The one at the top,
That one?
looks like, it's not going over it's going over some mountain range, the top one, and then the one below it.
That's a B-17 up there.
Okay,
That's we had flew that. We had that plane, and then we got this one to
Okay.
replace that one.
okay,
This is a newer model, and it had that radar on top was a height finding radar,
okay.
and the bottom one dome down here was a search radar.
Okay. And
And the Navy sent me to factory training. I went to spend a week in Hollywood.
really?
Yeah.
That's where the factory-
The factory was Burbank, California. and Burbank, Burbank didn't have any motels or anything, so I stayed at a motel in Hollywood.
Living it up.
Oh, yeah, I ran into some actors, actresses. The DeCastro sisters, I don't know if you ever heard of them or not. They were a trio of singers, and I ran into the Jonathan Winters. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not.
Yes, I have.
I ran
Oops.
into him at the bar. Hello?
Sisters at Heart. This is cute.
Unavailable.
Nice family. Yeah, you get a lot of calls from unavailable, I see.
Yeah, I do.
Well, is there anything that you especially liked about your life that some maybe story about your family or your parents,
I tell you what,
grand-
I enjoyed probably of my whole time. I enjoyed going to Ole Miss.
Yeah?
I had the best of everything up there. I uh, I knew uh, the director of housing was in the Navy, or reservist in the Navy. So rather than living in the dormitories, I managed. They had some brand new houses, apartments that they had just built for the married students, veterans and married students. It was just a little one-bedroom kitchenette apartment. But anyway, rather than live in a dormitory with a bunch of young kids, I was, I don't know, 27 years old, and most kids were 18 and 19. And rather than, so I got to know the housing guy, and I said, listen, I don't want to live in a dormitory. How about renting me one of those apartments? And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll do that, but if the need ever arises that I said, if you put me in there, I don't want to get started and have to go house hunting halfway through college now. You put me in there, you're gonna let me stay the duration. He said, yeah, I'll let you stay the duration if I put you in there. So he put me in there, and I stayed the duration. So I rented an apartment there, and I bought me a boat, and the Corps of Engineers was selling lots on that. They had three big lakes up there in Mississippi. There's Sardis Lake, and they had. I took my boat up there, and they had lots for sale on the lake, and they were auctioning them off, and I put a bid in for a lot, 1.2 acres lot on the water, on the lake, and I got it. I don't know, for $350 or something.
Oh, that's great.
And I got it. So
What year was this, you think?
when I went to Ole Miss, I don't know. Uh, I can't remember when I went.
Well, sorry, just.
But anyway,
You were younger in your,
so I bought me
how old were you when you bought it? Do you remember that?
I was going to Ole Miss at I didn't have any college. You're supposed to have 2 years of college to get in the flight training, and I didn't have any. So the Navy decided it wanted me to be able to compete with the other officers. So they decided to start a program that was called a 5-term program. If you could get a degree in 5 semesters, they would send you to college free. Well, I was out at Softy Field, and I went to Pensacola Junior College and picked up enough hours to qualify me to get a degree in 5 semesters. So the Navy decided to send me to college up at Ole Miss.
Nice.
And they had an airport up there, so I bought me a little airplane. I had a boat in my yard. I had an apartment on campus. And that's when they had the 2 Miss Americas up there at Ole Miss. I don't know, Mary Ann Mobley and Linda Lee Mead and Mary Ann Mobley. I don't know if you remember them or not, but they were Miss Americas,
Yes.
but from Ole Miss. So anyway, I went to Ole Miss up there, and I managed to graduate.
And you got the house on the, or the land on the lake. And when you bought that, did you build anything on that
No, I
land?
never did build anything on it, but
Did you keep
I
it?
kept it a few years, and I sold it. I sold it maybe 10 years later after I left Ole Miss.
Did you make a little profit?
Hmm?
Maybe made a little profit?
Probably did. I don't remember.
Uh-huh. Well, good.
And I went to Mississippi State. I went to Ole Miss, then I went to Mississippi State.
Oh, okay. I see the
I
little,
went back. I thought I'd try to go back home to my hometown and live.
uh-huh.
And I bought a house up there. I bought, surprisingly enough, I bought Morris Boarding House.
I don't know.
There was a boarding house up there. It had two. It was 2 stories, and it had a big staircase and a hallway and a big staircase, and it had 8 rooms upstairs and 8 rooms downstairs, and a duplex apartment behind it. So I rented the duplex apartments, and I rented the rooms for $20 a week. You got a change of linen once a week, and I lived there. And as a matter of fact, a guy that lived in there named Buddy Stover got me started beekeeping.
Really?
Yeah, I was a beekeeper for years. I had my own honey. I had my own label, CO'd honey, that I sold out here.
How long did you do that?
It was made by Busy Beach Bees, CO'd honey made by Busy Beach Bees.
I love the name.
And I sold honey for years. I had a big bees out in the backyard here.
You'll have to tell me about it because I'd like to have bees on Lord's Island, where I am.
Well, I tell you what, they're not bad. I never wore a veil or all of that stuff. They don't like dark. You can't wear dark clothes. You need to wear light clothes because they think you're a booger bear if you got dark clothes.
Oh.
They think you're a bear or something after their honey. You wear light clothes. And I was never stung by them. I would just work them. You just very gently around them, and you pull their hives out and put them back in, and you can handle bees without getting stung. They die when they sting you, so they don't want to sting you. So I raised bees and honey.
That sounds like a great outdoor thing
Yeah,
to
it
do.
is.
You know, I love the outdoors, and so, it's just
You ought to try that.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I'd love to do that down on Lord's Island in Santa Rosa Beach.
They got Doc Bullard up in the northern part of the county. I don't know if Doc Bullard's still around or not, but you can get in touch with Beekeepers Association, and they'll
Help.
take you in.
That'd be neat.
And you know how to ship bees, don't you?
No,
U.S. mail.
really?
Yeah. I ordered bees, and I got a package call one day from the post office, and they said, "Your bees are here." And I went.
How do they breathe?
Huh?
How do they breathe?
They're in a cage,
Oh,
and they have a queen.
a queen and some bees.
Unavailable again.
Well, leave it. Yeah, just leave it. It'll go to voicemail, won't it? Or press it.
This call, 11.
I just let them go to my voicemail. I'm gonna stop this unless you want to keep talking. Yeah, are you trying to erase them? Is this you behind on the beach, standing on the beach with, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay. With one of your walking sticks, or I can't tell what that is. Is that a? You're gonna go through all of them and erase them right now? Nothing like taking care of details immediately. Oh, well. It was nice talking to you about everything, and thank you for sharing. God bless you.